What if the most important benefits of exercise had nothing to do with calories, weight, or even fitness? And what if they were the benefits that actually change how you live? Now, we tend to talk about exercise in pretty predictable ways. Calories burned, weight loss, getting stronger, getting fitter, and those things matter, but they're also the easiest things to point to. And if you've watched some of my other videos, you'll know we've talked about strength and we've talked about how exercise is more than calories. But this builds on that because some of the most important benefits of exercise are the ones no one really talks about. And I think this is something I've only really started to understand more clearly over time. Because if I'm honest, I don't show up to exercise for the reasons I used to. And it took me a while to even notice that shift. One of the more interesting things I've come across is this. There's a part of your brain that responds to effort, to doing things you don't feel like doing. And it's often linked to things like willpower, persistence, and self-regulation. And like a lot of things in the body, it adapts when you use it. So that moment where you think, I don't feel like doing this today, and you do it anyway, that's not just a physical win. That's something you're reinforcing neurologically as well. Because over time, something starts to change. It doesn't suddenly become easy, but it becomes more manageable. You get better at showing up, even when you don't feel like it. And sometimes that just means starting smaller than you think you should. And that's just one layer, because when movement shows up regularly, even in small ways, other things start to shift too. You get better at following through, not just in workouts, in everything. You don't back out as quickly. You stay with things a little longer. Your mood becomes more steady, less reactive. You don't get pulled as far down and you don't stay there as long. You recover from stress faster. Things still happen, but your system settles more quickly. And that changes how your whole day feels. Your thinking becomes clearer, you focus better, you feel less foggy, and that shows up everywhere in conversations, decisions, everything. Your energy becomes more reliable, not spikes, not crashes, just more consistent. You start to trust your body. And when that happens, you move differently, you hesitate less, you feel more capable, you move with more options. And that might not sound exciting until it is. Being able to bend, reach, rotate, get up, change direction without thinking about it, that's freedom. Even your relationship with food can shift, not because you're trying to control it, but because your body becomes more regulated. Hunger feels more predictable, less reactive overall. And over time, you start to see yourself differently, not as someone who should exercise, but as someone who does. And that's what actually makes it stick. And I've actually seen this play out in a real practical way. At MOSSA, we pay our employees to work out during the day. And yes, part of that is because we're a company that promotes exercise. But that's not really the reason we've kept doing it. We've kept doing it because of what we see on the other side of it. People come back more focused, more level, better able to handle what's in front of them. And over time, you realise that hour isn't a cost, it's an investment in their health, their mood, their clarity, and honestly, how they show up at work. And when you see that consistently, it changes how you think about what exercise is actually doing. And if you're starting to think about exercise a little differently and you're not quite sure how to build it into your routine, that's exactly why we built MOSSA On Demand. It gives you structured workouts you can follow, so you're not trying to piece it together on your own. You're just showing up and letting it build over time. We'll link that below. And I've noticed this in my own life. I still care about the obvious benefits, but if I'm honest, that's not why I show up anymore. I exercise for my brain, for how I handle stress day to day. I exercise because of what it does for me mentally. My preference has always been to work out at lunchtime. I'm not amazing in the mornings, but a midday workout literally feels like it gives me a second wind. I feel sharper, more energized. It completely removes that mid-afternoon slump that we often feel. And I've also realized something else. There's a real sense of accomplishment in doing something you don't always feel like doing, in prioritizing it anyway, even when it's the last thing you want to do. So for me, it's almost like a trifecta. You get the benefit of overcoming that initial friction, you get the benefit of the workout itself, and then you get how you feel after. And once you start to experience that, it's hard to unsee it. And none of that shows up as a number. Your watch won't tell you. There's no metric for it. But these are the things that actually change how you live, how you feel in your body, how you move through your day. And this is where something like MOSSA's Group Active makes a lot of sense, because it's not just one thing. It includes strength, cardio, mobility, and balance. It's all of these elements working together. So instead of chasing one outcome, you're stacking benefits in a way that's structured, in a way that's accessible, in a way that actually fits into real life. And if you're curious what that feels like, you can experience Group Active inside MOSSA on demand or at a health club or YMCA near you. Either way, it's a simple way to start building those benefits into your routine. We'll link both options below. What exercise builds is bigger than what it burns. And this is why consistency matters. Not because every workout needs to be perfect, but because these benefits don't come from one session. They build, they layer, they accumulate. And this doesn't have to be extreme. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to keep showing up. Because over time, what you're really building isn't just fitness. It's capacity, it's resilience, it's the ability to handle more physically and mentally. So I'm curious, what's something you've noticed from exercise that has nothing to do with calories or weight? Something you feel you can't really measure? Share in the comments below and subscribe so you don't miss the next video.